Values are the most important fundamental you need to know to create realistic art. If you want to create art without limitations, then you need to understand values. In this video, we will talk about what values are, how they create form, going to show you how to see something for its value, and then we'll get into creating depth using values. My name is Daniel Folta with the Evolve Artist, and we teach people a simple method for creating realistic paintings. Let's get into it. Value is the first of 4 fundamentals taught in the Evolve Artist method. Value is how light or how dark something is, and it has 2 determining factors: what it's made of and how the light interacts with it. So when we look at this image, our brain immediately tells us that we're looking at a white cube and a gray cube. So white cube, gray cube. Wait a minute, these don't look like cubes, these look like flat hexagons. Exactly. Without that second component, how the light interacts with it, you will not be able to recognize the thing that you want to create. That's how important values are. This single cube that your brain wants to tell you is white is actually made up of 3 values. Coming back to this image, it's pretty amazing how quickly our brain processes these values and simplifies them down into saying this is a white cube and this is a gray cube, when if you look closely, look at that white cube, that shadow on that right plane. Look at how dark that is, and yet our brain still tells us that the whole cube is white. That's pretty incredible. And so our brain will process these values, perceive these cubes as having form, right? These cubes don't look flat at all, they look 3-dimensional. And we're seeing this on a digital screen. So there's an illusion that's happening here that we are buying into. And so we need to understand how to see values ourselves so that we can create that illusion ourselves. Now, artists will often use a value scale for matching their values in art. And you may have seen a 9 value scale, a 10 value scale, 11 value scale, but that's actually overkill. It's overcomplicating the process if you want to gain a fundamental understanding of values. And here's why. Well, think about it this way. The mark of a master is not in how complicated they make it, but in how simple they make it seem. Simplify it. You are much better off starting with a 4 value scale, and this is how Evolve teaches. Remember what the purpose of a value scale is. In reality, there is an infinite range of values, and our eyes can even see about 1,000 steps of those values. So we use a value scale to simplify that infinite range into just a few components. But wait, how do you match all of those values if you only have 4 values to pick from? You don't. This is so essential. You don't match value to value. If you did, you would just be complicating the process again, and you would just be a copying machine saying, oh, this looks like that value, and so I'm going to make it that value. No, not at all. With only 4 values to choose from, you have no choice but to simplify processing the values with a greater understanding of how this all works. Imagine looking at someone's face for all of its beauty and complexity and saying, oh, that's simple. There's nothing to it. That is mastery. That is understanding, and that's what you want to pursue so that you can create art without limitations. And look at the kind of work that you can create with that understanding of values and not just copying values that you see. This is a vacant shadows painting. Look at how all of these shadows is just one value. It's just this tone of the canvas, and then all of the lights have been painted in. That is understanding, and that is simplicity, and you cannot do that without a true understanding in values. But wait, if you're not copying or matching value to value, then how do you go about simplifying these values? Great question. Remember that second component, how light interacts with it. Light and shadow play a critical role in determining the value of a thing. So how do you determine your values? Break your reference image down into light and shadow before anything else, and make it so that you can only assign the 2 darkest values to your shadows and the 2 lightest values to your lights. These paintings are the result of our students in the Evolve program painting with only 4 values. Look at how strong they are, how 3-dimensional they look, and if you add values for highlights and reflections, you're going to start dropping jaws with the level of realism that you can put into your work. So if you want to gain a fundamental understanding of value, simplify your reference image into only 4 values. Simplicity creates powerful impressions. Remember that. Now you can also use values to create depth. to create a depth of field, to make something feel like it's receding off into the distance and to make something else feel like it's coming forward. So how do you do that? Well, let's take a look at nature. Look at these mountains. Look at how those mountains get lighter and lighter as they recede into the distance. They're becoming lighter because they are becoming more like the sky. Think about the amount of atmosphere in between the camera and that mountain way in the back. So what we're seeing here is that the further away an object is, it will become closer in value to the background or the overall environment that it's in. And we can also learn from this that things that have more contrast will grab our attention, it's going to grab our eyes, and it's going to pull more forward, while things that have less contrast are going to recede into the distance. So how do we apply these concepts of depth of field into our paintings? So this painting by Bouguereau, I broke this image up into its background and its foreground. So I took the brightest value in the background and the darkest value in the background and put them next to each other, and then I also did the same for the foreground. Look at the difference in contrast between these two things. The foreground has high contrast and the background has low contrast. Not only are the buildings small, but the values are telling us that they are far off in the distance and that the girl is up front. If I took that background and without increasing the size of the buildings, just increased the contrast, look at how it pulls forward. That building is now competing for attention with the girl's face. And when we go back to what Bouguereau had originally done, you can see how the focus is all on the girl and our eyes can relax. We can soak in this painting because of that nice value relationship. And if you're struggling to see this painting for its values because of the color, I'm dropping this into black and white. Look at how the building falls away as you make those values more muted, as you decrease that contrast. So there's your crash course on values, the first of the 4 fundamentals that we teach in the Evolve Artist method. If you found this video insightful and you want to get more content like this, then subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you are serious about wanting pro-level art skills, then check out Evolve Artist. We have a program that is designed for you. And if you want to learn more, we have a masterclass led by our founder, Kevin Murphy, that is free, and I will drop in the link to that in the description below. So thank you, everyone, and I wish you all happy painting.